So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to remember him in the best possible way. I'm not going to make you cry. I'm not going to do sad songs with Stan. Stan wanted you to feel good about yourself, and he would want us to remember him in the best possible way. I have a couple stories I want to share that are going to just hopefully entertain you. They've entertained me. This will be the first time I share them. I should slow down. You're good. I talk really fast, so I'm going to slow down. I'm going to try. The first thing I did this week in honor of Stan, and you'll see I don't have it with me because I went to every store, and I told this to Stan, because how he did not have a members only jacket, honorary, like endorsement deal, I don't know. Because nobody rocked that members only jacket better than Stan. You guys right? I mean, you guys would see him. I wore members only when I was in high school in the 80s. And every time I saw him, and maybe in some of these pictures they're going to show, he had them in tan and blue. The dude was a regular model for members only. So I'm sorry, Stan, I could not find a members only jacket to wear tonight. Now, I was at a thing this last week celebrating Stan Lee in New York City. Now, they're going to air it eventually. And I understand on ABC, and there was a couple of guys here that spoke, and there was Stan the Man. They spoke on Stan the Creator, Stan Soapbox, Stan the Ringleader, Stan the Influencer. Nowhere on here did they talk about Stan the Inspiration. I'm like, where's Stan the Inspiration? Because Stan inspired so many of us. And I'm going to tell you, the number one thing, I was rewatching my video that I did with Stan in 1990. We did a series of videos with Stan where he interviewed the current crop of artists, myself, Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee. And I rewatched my video, and it's really interesting. Halfway through the video, he talks about that when he was coming up doing comic books, that he wouldn't tell people what he did because he didn't feel they were being taken serious enough. And he said he would go to dinner parties and they'd say, "Hey Stan, what do you do?" And he'd like this is literally word for word on the video. He'd say, "I'm a writer." And he'd say, and I'd turn to get away because I satisfied it, "I'm a writer." Novels, that's for you to figure out. And they'd say, "Wait," and they'd grab him by the arm. "What are you a writer of?" And he said, "Kids books. I write kids books." And he said, "And I'm trying to make my getaway." And he said, but they got me. They said, "What kind of kids books?" And he said, "I write comic books." And he says the doctors and the lawyers turned and walked away from him. And Stan, when I saw him for the last time, under the care of a buddy of mine named John Bowlerjack, who I'm going to tell you, Stan had nicknames for everybody. And if you meet John, John has the most beautiful, magnificent hair. Stan knew this because Stan referred to him as Hairspray. Oh, Hairspray. Okay? So Hairspray told me, Johnny, my buddy John, said, "Rob, Stan would like to visit with you." And so I went up to see him. And once again, 30 years later, we're sitting there talking. And I tell him, "Stan, thank you. Everyone talks about you as for all the wonderful characters you created, and you did. And they are awesome, and they inspire all of us. But you knew ahead of everybody. He had such vision that in 1970 he came to Hollywood. He left publishing behind. He left it in the hands of the people that he thought were capable, and he came here to expand Marvel into what we know today. It started then. It started in the early 70s. It eventually got us Spider-Man cartoons, not the 60s one, which is the classic, but eventually more Spider-Man cartoons, Hulk cartoons. You guys are too young to remember, but there was a thing. Anyone who remembers this, I want you to raise your hand. There was a cartoon in the late 70s about the Thing, not the Fantastic Four, just the Thing. And it was a kid who put a ring on, and the rocks would come on him. And I'm like, what? But it was a way to sell the Thing to young kids like myself. And that was all a product of Stan. Lou Ferrigno, who's here today as the Hulk, a product of Stan, hustling to get his stuff on. And so we talked about it, and Stan said to me, "And you know what pissed me off, Rob? The libraries gave me a hard time about carrying Marvel comic product." And they're like, "Come on. This doesn't belong in a library." And he goes, "This will get kids to read so that they'll eventually check out Shakespeare." And I'm like, that's a good argument, man. Stan, whip smart, always the smartest guy. I got to know Stan the most for about a 5-year period, we did a lot of shows together. I'm going to share with you 3 stories along the way here. So we are flying to and from long East Coast travel: Boston, Cincinnati, Rhode Island, Chicago, so that's Midwest, New York. And you get to know somebody when you're spending 5-6 hours each way with them. We're going to Cincinnati, and the doors were about to close, and I go, I guess Stan's not making the flight. And suddenly, you're sitting there, and there's the door, and literally out of nowhere, Stan almost like slides like Tom Cruise, like with his shirt on in Risky Business. But he's got the jeans, the khakis, and the members only jacket. And then he goes, now I'm in row 2, and Stan goes, oh, not the bulkhead. I hate the bulkhead. My Stan's rusty today. And I sat up because I see Stan as I see my mom. More than a creator, I see him as a sweet senior citizen. And I say, Stan, you could take my seat. I'll sit in the bulkhead. And I'm going to tell you right now, you haven't lived. And I was not prepared. Because, dude, he's in his 90s here. But the guy had moves like Daredevil. He springs into the... So he's standing here. Here's the bulkhead chair. He jumps on his knees. And like my dog that I love so much, and I got to be honest, I had kind of visions of my dog because I got lost in Stan's eyes. I'm here, and Stan suddenly is on his knees on the chair, and he goes, "You would do that for me?" And I said, "Yeah, come on." There was an actor who shall not be named who was sitting next to me. I said, "Excuse me, I gotta go give my seat." And I think he was really excited, like, I'm gonna get to sit to Stan Lee. Stan's manager comes in. And Stan goes, Stan, I thought we were here. Rob gave us his seats. Oops. Hollywood actor suddenly. He didn't want to sit in the bulkhead either. But he moves. But when Stan sat up on his knees, "You would do that for me," is ingrained in my memory for as long as time. Because, he's like a puppy dog. Did I say? He gripped the chair. Awesome. So another long flight, and this is one of my top favorite stories of all time. So Stan would watch movies on the long flights, like all of you. He was watching Civil War. Now, Cincinnati or Boston, 2015 Civil War. I'm next to him, and he's sitting there, and Cap and Winter Soldier are fighting. Not Winter Soldier, yeah, sorry guys, Winter Soldier. Rob's boning it today. He was watching Winter Soldier, and they're fighting, and he goes, "Who is Winter Soldier?" Like, he was shocked. I go, "What?" He goes, "Who is Winter Soldier?" I said, "That's Bucky, Stan." "That's Bucky? What?" And here's the deal. I said, "Stan, I was at the premiere with you. I saw you go in and watch this movie. I sleep at those things." Right on. Next time, that's where Civil War comes in. I'm leaning over. "Is Stan sleeping? Stan sleeping?" He was having a nice little seance. He caught him on the planes, went to the premiere for the optics, dozes off. Even when Stan wasn't around, he got me in a lot of trouble. This is absolutely my favorite story, and Stan's not even around to experience it. But during the Deadpool movie, and that's another way I got to know Stan a lot. We did a lot of press junkets together. I met Stan 30 years ago, but during this period, this 5 years, I saw him a lot, spent long hours traveling with him, and not only the planes, then we get on a bus. You go to Rhode Island, you take a bus an hour from Boston to Rhode Island. So we were always hanging out, always making me laugh. But so it's late December of 2014, and they're going to shoot Deadpool starting in February. And the director of Deadpool sent me a text on my phone. Now, at the time, my kids are 14, 12, and 10. Well, I see the text, and I leave it on the table, and I walk away. And my oldest son, who's 14 at the time of the story, he's a do-gooder. Even of all our kids now he's 19, he is a do-gooder. He is a Boy Scout to his core. And so it's like, 5-10 minutes later, he turns the corner and he's quivering. And he's got the phone. Dad, can I talk to you? And I'm like, what's going on? What do I do now? All I've ever done is love you. Dad, does Mom know that you're going to the strip clubs with Stan? And who's Stan, Dad? Who's Stan that you go to the strip clubs with? I'm like, what are you talking about? But that, like, literally, I said, Luke, that's Stan Lee. That's the Deadpool movie. And Dad won't be in the strip club. A conversation I regret. Because I had to call Tim Miller and say, Tim, I won't be in the strip club with Stan. But yeah, that was the best story ever. My son wanted to know who Stan was. That I go out at night to the strip clubs. And does Mom need to know? So anyway, the great thing about Stan in his final days, I'm going to tell you this. Stan had a beautiful home. He had a beautiful view, one of the best views I've ever been in. And I've been in some great houses here in Los Angeles, Hollywood. And the thing about Stan that you most need to know is his final months. He was in the very best place. When I got called up to see him, I got a little nervous because I was like, well, I know Stan's been through a lot, and I was hoping that he would be in the best possible condition. And drove up, got out. Stan had a killer bodyguard named Kane. I had a character in X-Force that fought Deadpool named Kane, so I'm like, right on. Kane was about yay large, arms as big as oak trees, the sweetest guy, hair pulled all back in a bun, nice sidearm. If I did anything wrong, I was going down. Kane was very nice. John, again, my buddy John Bowler-Jack, who took care of Stan, hairspray. He leads me in to see Stan, and I'm telling you, Stan looked fantastic. And that's when we had our chat for the afternoon, and John said, hey, let's get a picture. And I saw the photo, and I saw how Stan looked and the blue in his eyes, because honestly, I was like, well, if Stan isn't looking up to snuff, I won't share it. But I knew once I saw it that everybody here wanted to see it, because they wanted to see what great shape Stan was in. And Stan, in his last days, was resting because he had worked his butt off. The hardest working guy I've ever met in my life, and that's another way I drew inspiration from him, was how hard he worked in his 90s. And you go, Rob, but he wasn't really working. No, he was working. He was getting on planes and taking buses to come see you. And what he did with you, and so many of you know, he gave you his best self as long as he could. He made you left him thinking you had touched, Gandalf meets Obi-Wan combined, the wizard, the master. And he loved it, and he enjoyed giving all of you a piece of him. And so anyway, I just want to, take a minute and just give a shout out, because I know Stan's watching this show. He was a part of this show for many years, and just lift a imaginary glass to Stan and tell him you will always be the man. Thank you, Stan Lee. Thank you, sir. Yeah, the best. The segue I will get to Deadpool is, like I said, with when Stan was in Deadpool, and there may be some pictures that they've shown, we were on a Deadpool junket. And I was next to him when the Deadpool movie ended. And I've been at a lot of, now this is about 6 weeks before Deadpool, no, 2 months before it's in theaters. It's a fan screening, and Stan is like ready to go. They tell me, let's sit down here next to Rob. And they said, Rob, we want you to sit next to him in case there's questions, you can repeat them. And he's such a sweet guy. But we started, and Stan says, before we start, and he leans over to Tim Miller, and he goes, I just want to tell you that that's the best movie directed by the best director ever. And I was even like, whoa, that's some big praise, but I knew it was sincere. Tim is on the other side of me, and Tim goes, yeah, and like, he thought there's a punchline coming, and Stan's looking at him like, whoa, what are you talking about? And I said, he thinks you're gonna, like, you set him up for, that's the best movie by any director ever. And Tim goes, wow, whoa. But 6 months later, we're signing posters. Stan's probably 93 at this point. He's still giving Tim a hard time. I'm in the middle of them. I'm always in the middle of them. And we're passing posters. The first 2 posters that we sign, Stan goes, what is this? And I go, what? He goes, this. I go, that's Tim Miller's autograph. Oh, he leans over, hey. Tim's like, what? He goes, you call this an autograph? You call this an autograph? And look, my autograph's kind of illegible, hard to read. Tim's is like a straight line. And we don't all have that delicious stand. And he goes, work on that. And I mean, in 10 seconds later, Tim Miller is signing his name differently. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. That's the power of Stan. 93, still taking the piss out of people because he just had a good time doing it. But so we saw a lot of Deadpool, and Stan would tell me time and again, and I put it on my Instagram this week, when he said at a 2016 gathering, Deadpool is the favorite character he never created and he wished he created him. And he would always put his arm around me and I'd be like, I love Deadpool, I wish he was mine. So, with that in mind, I have gathered Deadpools somewhere, and we are gonna bring them up on stage for you to see, because like, this is thick with people, and it's thick with people, and there's a couple of Deadpools that are gonna take a minute because they're like 10 feet tall. But as Deadpool's own Johnny Versace, having designed this amazing costume for him to rock, I love it when they come up. So I'm just gonna have them all come up in a little mini Deadpool parade. It's an annual event I do here. I hope we give them the proper cheer that they deserve. So guys, if you could join me up here. And now remember, they're in tight leather. They may not be in good moods. They got swords, some of them, and a couple of them can do backflip. Okay. Greetings. Good to see you. Good to see you. Come on down. Come on down. Oh my gosh. Let it go. Just let it go. Good to see you. Oh my gosh. Okay. Poppins Pool. Poppins Pool. The classic. You guys are awesome. Okay. Hi. Love you. You're the best. Oh my gosh. I love it. The audition. Did you hear that, Ryan? You got competition. Okay. Great to see you. Well, so this is picking up. Elsa and okay. Oh my gosh. What do we call you? Okay, guys. Can you believe what we have here? Can we give these people a round of applause? Oh my gosh. Come on in. Come on in. Okay. Let's make some room, Freddie. Dude, you guys are killing me. Oh my gosh. Okay. What kind of time do we have? 5 minutes. We're gonna get everybody's names because you should know who these people are. Start here. What's your name, buddy?
Daniel.
What are you rocking?
Steampunk.
Steampunk Pool. Are you homeless, Deadpool?
My name's Lou. I'm Deadpool.
I saw you in a tent over there last night.
I'm gonna look at the tent.
Love it. Good to see you.
Hi, I'm Mallory, but my friends call me Pikachu.
Pikachu. 2 Ryan characters. Okay.
Osvaldo. And you can either call me Piscina de la Muerte or Mexipool.
You know, if I said Mexipool, I'd get in a lot of trouble. I'd be on the front of like Breitbart or something. They'd be on a cross. He said Mexipool. Say it again.
Mexipool.
Mexipool. Thank you, sir. You look. Oh, I love the bullets, then pouches. I love it. What's your name? Kyle. Kyle, you're raw. You're awesome. You could. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. True story. Ryan's stunt double is about this tall. And you'd never know it because they do the camera. They fool you. You're a badass. Okay, what are you?
Jockpool.
I love it. Jockpool. Yeah, don't hurt us. Okay. Hi.
Tyler.
Tyler, and you're
I wield the Thanos gauntlet.
I love it. I love it. You're don't snap. Don't snap. Hi. How are you? Good to see you.
Jimmy Soberpool.
I love it. Sober Pool. Got off the. Okay. Here we go. Hi.
Braden. Rapunzel Pool.
Rapunzel Pool. Okay. Hunter.
Yokes Pool.
Yoked Pool. I love it. Okay.
Nick. And I'm Robopool.
Robopool. Mexipool for the win. Okay, hang on. I'm calling this one over. Okay.
Omar, and it's Captain Deadpool.
Captain Deadpool. What is up, my buddy?
Emmett, and it's my brother's birthday and my birthday.
It's your birthday? Happy birthday. Right now. What's your name?
Emmett.
Andy?
No,
Emmett. We're singing happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Poppins pool.
Poppins pool. All right.
Fernando, fiance pool.
Did you say Beyonce pool?
Yes.
Beyonce pool. Oh, Mexico pool's got competition. I like the finger. Okay.
My uncle just sent me out to catch wild animals pool.
Right on. Hunter pool.
Hello, everyone!
Elsa pool. You look fabulous.
Cameo.
Deadpool cameo. You catch this guy online. He's amazing. He does amazing work with kids. He's top flight guy. You're amazing. You're amazing. Okay, I'm gonna guess you're
Fred Pool.
Fred Pool. Right on. We have a cable. Thank you.
Anna, cable.
Good to see you. You look awesome. Josh, you have competition. Josh Brolin. Okay.
Carrie, I'm Lady Dead.
Hey, Deadpool. Okay, you're scary. You've been in some fights. Okay, what's up?
Army of Two Deadpool.
I love it. I love it. Poor Groot. Things will get better. Okay.
Bob Ross Deadpool.
Bob Ross Deadpool. You guys give it up for the Deadpools. Okay, I'm going to take a photo and then I'm going to clear the stage for somebody who's worth your time. Okay? So hang on.